casinos are open. The mall is open. They still selling tennis shoes. And they still in there gambling. Well, don't tell me that the casino could be open, but Muhammad's mosque can't be open. And that they can gather in the hundreds to go to gamble off their resources, and pretty much if the house didn't win, then the casinos wouldn't exist. But when you come and hear the life-giving teachings, it is not a gamble. It is a sure win. Whatever you give and whatever you get from this is guaranteed to make your life better. We are here to celebrate and to take up a subject that matches the latest book that we have on the market right now, which is titled The Black Woman, God's Second Self. I'm waiting on them to bring me a copy of it, so I at least can show it to you. But this is a book that, by the grace of Allah, we have sold over 1,000 books in 3 weeks. All praise to Allah. And I want to put out a disclaimer. This is not a book that's just for women. That's right. Come on. But this is a book that every young black girl should have in their possession. That's right. Why? Because whenever you are growing up black in America, we are fed a heavy diet of what we are not, and very little about what we can accomplish. So if you can get a book that can teach a young girl her great, immeasurable, and matchless value while she is yet developing, when she becomes an adult, and then the opposite sex begins to be attracted to her, she'll see so much value in herself that she'll be too valuable to give any dude a discount. That's right. She'll see herself through such a great pure lens that she'll come off that clearance right. And get back behind the glass where all the real valuable stuff is at. Come on now. And if your daughter, which is my niece. That's right. I'm going to say that again. I said, your daughter, which is my niece, come on. And my son, which is your nephew. Did y'all hear what I just said? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to tell you something, black people of Cincinnati. We are never going to be able to solve the problems in the black community until we graduate out of having sympathy for one another to having empathy for one another. That's right. See, sympathy and empathy sound the same and they're used interchangeable, but they have two totally different definitions. Some words that we use, they mean different stuff. We just use them like they mean the same thing. There's a difference between a daddy and a father. That's right. Come on. We use daddy and father interchangeable with one another, but these are two different concepts. See, a daddy is a man that knows how to plant a seed in the vaginal tract to bring birth to a child. Come on, man. But a father is a man that knows how to teach that child, how to successfully navigate in the world that he's brought them into. We got a lot of daddies, but not enough fathers. Right. A mama can bring a baby into the world, but a mother is one that knows how to coach that baby to help make them successful in the life that they have given them. Right. We got a lot of mamas, but very few mothers. Wow. Boy, y'all agree. Have you noticed that whenever a woman has a child by someone that's not her husband, that in the hood she calls him the baby daddy? That's right. When you have a child by a sister that's not your wife, you will say, that's my baby's mama. Right. Very rarely is the word mother or father attached to the female or the male that you have a child with, but you're not married to. Okay, y'all still not with me. Okay. Have you noticed that you've never heard or seen a word called daddyhood or mamahood? Come on. Huh? It's father. And then mother. Is that right? Yes, sir. Why not mama? Why not daddy? Why mother and fatherhood? The suffix HOOD, when you put it on the the end of the word, it means the state of or the condition of whatever the base word means.
Come on, teach, brother.
But you can take a dictionary and look up the suffix hood, and to look up the suffix, you got to start it off with a dash, then type H-O-O-D.
Come on.
But if you just remove the dash from the suffix hood, then hood goes from a suffix to a noun, a proper noun. And when you look up the word hood as a proper noun, it's a piece of fabric that's attached to the back of a shirt, coat, or a jacket. And a hood's function is the covering of the head. Why motherhood? Why fatherhood? Because to be a mother and to be a father is bigger than being a mama and a daddy. To be a mother and a father, you have to have a certain amount of knowledge covering your head that makes you qualified to rear that child in the way that they should go. A lot of mamas, not a lot of mothers. A lot of daddies, but not a lot of fathers. We use words that mean different things, but we use them for the same thing. What was the other word I was talking about earlier? Not mother and father. Not mama and daddy. Before that. How old are you? Go ahead. Man, look, man. Oh, yeah. Corona shut school down, but we ain't shut it down. That's right. Now I want you to give that public election later on. No, I'm just messing with you. Now, can I drop something on? How many of you are mothers? Raise your hand. Oh, that's nice. How many fathers in the building? Can I tell you something?
Yes, sir.
We are given in the Nation of Islam. Does this microphone work?
Yes,
It does? Can I hold it?
Yes, sir.
Is this my...
Yes, sir. It's an inside joke. Because I'll be messing with them. Everybody always got these karaoke machines. Yeah, my radio, believe me, I like it loud. I'm the man with the box that can rock the... Y'all don't know about that. Y'all don't know about no radio. Where was I again? All right. No, the lesson. In the nation, we have something called the Supreme Wisdom Lessons. And inside of it, Master Fard Muhammad, who is the human being that laid down the greatest love story ever told.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
I said it's the human being that laid down the greatest love story ever told.
That's right. The
greatest love story ever told ain't Romeo and Juliet.
That's right.
The greatest love story ever told is that a man would travel 9,000 miles all by himself.
That's right.
And leave paradise.
Come on.
To come and civilize and teach the black man and woman of North America, Master Fard Muhammad.
That's right.
The teacher of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. God in person. Well, when he gave us the supreme wisdom lessons,
Come on.
he offered a reward for what he called the best and the neatest workers of the province. Inside of the reward system, there was something called a pocket Quran.
Come on. Come on.
Y'all seen those before, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
The little bitty ones?
Yes, sir.
Then there was another reward if you worked the problem out and you could get you a regular Quran.
Come on.
Then there's a mention of another type of Holy Quran. I see my brother James, that great minister of Cincinnati. Let's give Brother James a round of applause. Good to see you, mighty warrior. And I'm looking at my brother's face. And he's been smiling the whole time, but when I start talking about the lessons, I watch a big smile come on.
Come on now.
But Brother James can bear me witness as a pioneer of the faith that there's a reward called
Quran, there's another regular Quran, and then there's a mention of something called a family-sized Quran. I want you, when you leave, to go Google family-sized Quran.
Yes, sir.
They don't exist. The Quran, or the reward, is not actually you receiving a little bitty miniature Quran, or a regular sized Quran, or a big, large, family sized Quran. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that you don't receive a Quran as a reward. What it means is you receive a bigger understanding of the Quran you already have.
Come on.
By solving problems.
Come on. Come on.
Y'all see only 3 people on the platform. What? Understanding is important, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Now, as I'm teaching, I need y'all to give me some feedback.
Yes, sir.
And I don't need you to clap or bear witness for my ego or for self-gratification or because I'm here for some applause.
Right.
But anytime that someone is communicating, communication has 4 basic principles. It is the transmitter that communicates through a channel. That's 2. 3 is a receiver.
Come on.
And 4th is feedback.
Yes, sir.
If the person transmits through a channel to a receiver, but there is no feedback,
Come on.
then the transmitter does not know that it's actually successfully reached its destination.
That's right.
So you whenever you want to know whether or not the power cord is working, you've got the power source as a transmitter. You have the cord as the channel.
Come on.
And then you have the device as the feedback, as the receiver. But if the receiver doesn't have any lights on, or doesn't have any sound coming out of it, you'll say that this ain't working. So I want to know, as a transmitter through a channel called teaching, to you and me, my sisters and my brothers who are receivers, I need some feedback so we can make sure that the message has got where it needs to go. Are you all right?
Yes, sir.
So I said that whenever you get a family-sized Quran, you don't get a big Quran, but you get a bigger understanding of the Quran you already have.
Yes, sir.
And understanding is more valuable than money. You didn't hear what I just said? The Solomon, the wisest man in the Bible, said this. He said, get knowledge, for it is the principal thing.
That's right. That's right.
But in all thine gettings. All thine gettings mean I'm getting knowledge. I'm getting money. I'm getting automobiles. I'm getting houses. I'm getting clothing. I'm getting a wife. I'm going to get a husband. I'm going to get children.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Come on.
I'm going to get all of these things that I'm supposed to get because I'm a living human being that is born to conquer matter, energy, space, and time. I'm going to get everything I can see. But the wisest man in the Bible is saying that in all thine gettings, get understanding. Understanding is more valuable than money.
Say that. Say that.
See how nobody
Powerful.
Do you know the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said poverty is not lack of money? He said poverty is not lack of money. Poverty is lack of know-how.
Come on.
When you have knowledge, you are rich.
Come on. Yes, sir.
50%
You
agree.
teaching.
Yes, sir. If knowledge is not real money, do you know another synonym for money is capital?
Say it. Say it.
When someone gets their head cut off, they're called decapitated.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
D meaning to remove, capitate, coming from the same root word that the word capital comes from. So when the head is cut off, see, what's that telling? Knowledge is the real money. So when my young brother could answer the question that we're going from empathy to sympathy, trying to figure out the real meaning of the word, I gave him some money. This is a good formula for a mother and a father to do.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Because in the lessons, not only did God promise a pocket Quran, regular Quran, or a family-sized Quran for the best and neediest workers of the problem. But in some parts, it'll say that whichever student successfully answers this will get $15.
Come on.
Another one says 50.
Yes, sir.
Another says 100.
Come on.
Another says 150 in gold.
Come on.
Or $100 in silver.
Yes, say that.
So money is a reward for the acquisition of knowledge and the solving of problems.
Come on.
I'm saying to you as mothers and fathers, not daddies and mama, but mothers and fathers. Sometimes you got to put a little incentive in front of your children to get them to read books.
Come on.
Yes, sir. Teach. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If my people are destroyed from a lack of Bentleys, it didn't say that?
No, sir. No, sir.
My people are destroyed from a lack of money.
No, sir.
My people are destroyed from a lack of Gucci.
No, sir.
My people are destroyed from a lack of what?
Knowledge.
So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if no knowledge, lack of knowledge equals destruction, then the more knowledge that we get, the equal and opposite reaction is we begin to be built up and strong. Who doesn't want their sons and daughters to be strong? In fact, a real mother and father does not want their children to be like them. A real mother and father wants their children to be better than them. Am I telling the truth? All praise be to the Lord. My youngest daughter once was wrestling with, I guess you can say, depression. What? Ain't nobody immune to the stench of the skunk and the flame that come from a devil that's in hell. You can't be in hell and not feel some heat sometime. Your children go through the same stuff my children go through, and my children go through the same stuff your children go through. That's why we've got to go back to that old village concept we once had before we came to America. Yes, sir. See, because in the opening, I said, your daughter is my niece and my son is your nephew. Do you know what that means? See, if I'm your brother and you're my sister, your daughter is my niece, my son is your nephew, every problem becomes a family problem.
That's right. That's right.
We start looking out for one another, and whenever we see every black child as my nephew and my niece, then now we graduate from sympathy into empathy. Empathy means I feel it. I guess as if it happened to me. But my daughter was bothered and whatnot, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that every solution to every problem is found in a book somewhere.
Say that.
Come on.
So I was performing some technology. And I told my daughter, I said, tell you what, I got some books, then I got some audio books. You're too young to work, but you still like making money.
That's right.
I thought the children would have been bearing witness a little louder. Y'all want to try the children like money too?
Yes, sir.
And they money a little different than your money.
Yes, sir.
No, they money lasts forever. Is that, huh? Have you ever been in a store shopping with your children? And they find something they really want? And they walk around with the store with you carrying it the whole time. All of a sudden, all the stuff you need for the house starts coming down the belt. The next thing you know, riding down all by itself.
That's right.
There's some of your son and daughter that's stuck on the belt.
Come on now.
That's right.
And you quick on the draw, mama, you put that arm out. You know that arm stop that belt. Don't you ring this up. And you grab that thing off the belt and you look over at your son and daughter and say, what is this? And then the campaign began.
That's right.
Daddy, I have to have it.
Well,
It's not a want, this is a need now. It's just $20.
come on now.
See, that commercials get, and then you look over at your son and daughter and say, well, don't you have $40? Yes, ma'am. Well, here, go ahead and pay for it.
Yeah.
They look at you, look at it. Look at you, look at it. and walk away and put it, that's okay.
Eat.
They can live off $20 for 7 years. And still have $18. Because y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, just a little, I guess you can call it a parenting hack that I'm learning from the lessons. Because if money was given as a reward for study and solving problems by God, and we call God Father, then if God is Father and the Father, God gives us money for knowledge and solving problems, should that mean as a parent I should be doing what God would do? So I told my daughter, I said, tell you what. I said, for every book you read, every audio book you listen to and you take notes, I'll give you $25 a book. 5 days went past, I was already $100 in the hole. I said, oh. Can I renegotiate my contract? Now the other side of it, see, how will you know that they read the book when you quiz them if you didn't read it yourself?
Right. Right.
No, I'm going to tell you a secret. I got security.
Yes, sir.
We don't have problem children. Our children have a problem. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And the world we live in is their problem.
Right.
But the world we live that they live in was created and manufactured by dumb parents.
Come on.
See? So you can't tell your baby to read this, study that, and they don't catch you read.
Right.
Our Father who art in heaven, the last thing in the Lord's Prayer was, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. What the lesson is that a real parent is going to be what they want to see.
Right.
Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Because if you are teaching them to do one thing, but you're not setting an example of it in the back of their mind, they're not going to say it. But what they would like to say, if they could say it, is that, look, Mama, what you are is so loud. I can't hear a word you saying. So we got to be what we want to see. And as my daughter started going through all of these books, I watched her spirit come up.
Come on.
I watched her attitude come up.
Yes,
I watched her whole disposition change.
Yes, sir.
That's what I was doing it for in the first place.
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the cycle, I was several $100s now.
That's all right.
I had a bill.
That's all right.
And my daughter said, how much is it all you? I think it was like $400 some dollars.
Wow.
Right.
I'm talking about like 6 weeks.
Yes, sir.
And look at this. When I said, well, how much do I owe you? And I said, okay, well, I'm going to pay you. She said, that's okay, Daddy. I don't need the money. I already have been paid. Are y'all hearing me? That's motherhood and fatherhood. Not mama and daddy, that's motherhood and father. Just a principle to put in the atmosphere. Well, I didn't got all the way off the subject, but on the subject. Because somebody, or several of us, needed to hear that principle.
That's right.
And it might help us to be able to navigate this mighty task of producing the new rulers of our planet.
Come on. That's right.
So this book is not only good for an adult woman, but it's good for young girls too. I'm going to step out there and say it's even better for them. Would you like medicine after you got sick? Or would you like to have in you the vitamins and nutrients that make you immune to ever getting sick? So wisdom could be medicine for someone that's made mistakes. But for someone that has not yet made those mistakes, it can build up their spiritual and mental and social immune system. And when they move through the world, they are unable to even get the disease that comes.
Come on.
And our little girls need that.
Yes, sir.
But this book is not just good for an adult woman or a young girl. It's also a good book for men to read.
Come on now.
Because men, we do not understand women and their value to us. If we did, we would handle them better.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm going to just step out there and say this. The greatest warrior for women, fighter for females, and soldier for sisters is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Never has there ever been, listen to what I'm saying, another human being on the face of the earth that taught the beauty and the value of women in general and the black woman in particular, like the master teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
And I'm going to share some principles today, sisters and brothers, with you from the mind of Muhammad, that if you take these principles and let these principles become laws that govern your life, then as a man, you will be able to navigate in a way that you will relate to the female where God will bless you. And as a woman, you will be able to relate to yourself in a way, and to men in a way, and then to your daughters in a way where God will even bless you more. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said a nation can rise no higher than its woman.
That's right.
He said civilization is not judged by the men. No, civilization is not judged by the military. Civilization is not judged by the money of a nation.
No.
More important than the men, the money, or the military of the nation is the women of that nation.
Come on, man.
The woman, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, must be respected and protected.
That's right.
Do you know, sisters, and to the young sisters, do you know if you take what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about the black woman that no one ever taught before him, and you convert these statements and principles into laws, rules, or axioms, or affirmations? That's a new word they use.
That's right. That's right.
You know, they always change the language.
Come on. What do we say?
Everybody talking about meditation now.
Come on.
Did you know the Holy Quran been told you to meditate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But not in a white man way.
No, sir.
See, the white man is a godless species on the planet.
Yes, sir.
He's a spiritless individual.
That's right.
Oh, y'all don't agree with me?
Yes,
Okay, I want you to watch the Country Music Awards, and then I want you to watch the Hip Hop and R&B Awards. Yes, sir. And for the record, black music is more low down than white music is. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But our music, I mean, a brother might win a Grammy, and in one song, he done shot 30 people, took 4 dudes, girls, sold several pounds of dope, and been popping all kind of pills. But at the end of the day, before I say anything, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for God, would none of this be possible? Is that right? Show up foul, show up high, show up naked, and still salute God. Black people.
That's right.
But I want you to watch when Garth Brooks and them get up there.
Come on now.
They take that stand. Yeah, I would like to. I'd like to thank. My Jimmy, my drummer. Man, you've been there with me the whole time, man. All the way through it all, man. Love you, man. I'd like to thank my children and my wife. Arista Records. And most of all, above all things, you think they're going to say, God, my fans. They'll never salute God. But we are spiritual people by nature. The white man say meditate, but let your mind be blank. But the Holy Quran, God says, and meditate on the Holy Quran. So instead of trying to look at nothingness in your mind, you should be able to see in your mind a verse from the Holy Quran that has power in it.
Right. Yes, sir.
And be looking at it with your mind's eye,
Yes,
breaking it down and taking on every nuance of it for several minutes at a time and watch power come from it. You can use a quote from some philosopher as an affirmation if you want to.
Right. Come on.
But Plato, Aristotle, and Hypothegus, and Thales, and crew, these philosophers have nothing on the wisdom that came from the original black man.
That's right. Come on.
Right.
Nothing on the wisdom that came from God himself. So a affirmation is a statement that people use that is a true statement that is consciously used to help a person consciously take control of their conscience.
That's right.
Y'all not here.
Go ahead.
Do you know there's a verse in the Bible that says, bring every thought captive unto Christ? You didn't hear me. That means you got to think about what you're thinking about.
Yes, sir.
Y'all didn't catch that.
Yes, sir.
There has to be some idea that you hold above all the ideas of the world. That's why without belief in God, we're gonna die in misery. You have to have a body of knowledge and a source that is above all of the other sources of the world. If you don't, then all somebody has to do is articulate with fancy language a lie, and because it sounds good, you think it is good. But if you're bringing every thought captive unto Christ, what it means in a nutshell is that whatever we are thinking, we have to compare it to the mind of God.
Right.
And if it matches the mind of God, we can keep it. But if we compare what we're thinking to the mind of God and it doesn't match the mind of God, don't keep it, kill it.
That's right.
And the more we compare what we're thinking to the mind of God and keep what matches and kill what doesn't, at a certain point, we'll be able to say like Jesus, I and my Father are one. When you see me, you see the Father. I'm in the Father and the Father is in me. Another lecture for another time. But affirmations are very powerful because they allow you to interrupt the self-defeating thoughts that have been installed in our brain as commands by a 400-year sojourn from our enemy. There's a book out right now called The Answer by a man named John Assaraf, who did a study and said that by the age of 17, a child is told no or you can't achieve an average of 150,000 times.
Wow.
But they're only told yes and you can do it 5,000 times.
Man.
That's 30 no's for every one yes. That's 30 times we're told what you can't achieve versus being told what you can achieve. I'm going to step out there and say that I know they didn't interview black people.
Yes, sir.
White people don't care nothing about working out a formula that helps black people.
Exactly. Exactly.
When you seen them talking about they're running this expedited experiment to figure out how they can come up with a treatment to cure the coronavirus, whenever you seen them on TV the other day, they showed them experimenting on white mice. Anytime medicine is developed, they go from a white mouse, a guinea pig, and then the last phase before it gets into a human study is they do a study on a monkey.
Come on.
The white mice is lacking melanin like a white man. And anytime white people get tricked, they'll tell you, well, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Come on now.
Well, wait a minute. If you're a white man and you the monkey's uncle, then your brother is the monkey's dad. No, we didn't come from monkeys. Monkeys came from them.
That's right.
You shaved down George Bush. Well, you put George Bush on with some fur, and you'll see Curious George all over again. Y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Yes, sir.
So when they do these studies, okay, I'm going to ask you this. Raise your hand if anybody's ever called and polled you for anything. 1, 2. Look at that. 2 people. Out of everybody in the room. So who are they polling when they come up with these stats?
Right.
I submit that if they would poll black children, we probably would be double in the negative. Just on the fact that nigger has become, is like Mr. and Mrs. in some hoods.
That's right.
What?
Right.
And I'm saying, when I was coming up, my family always found a way to invalidate everything. Even good stuff.
Right.
When I spent my hard-earned money on prom stuff, got me that tuxedo,
Come on.
I was clean. We came all outside, my mama, my aunties, and everybody, and I'm in there. I got the real flower too. I got the real, what do they call that? Corsage. I had a real one on there. I got on them slip-on patent leathers. I was fresh. Cummerbund, paisley.
Come on.
I knew I was clean. I got out there. They said, "Lord, look, turn around." Yeah, look at, uh-huh. I'll turn around, let me see that. So, nigga, you think you cute now, huh? Come on, now. Pay $95 for this stuff for a day. Came home one time with honor roll, invalidation. All my life, I got D's and F's for first grade all the way till senior year in high school.
Come on.
Most of the teachers just passed me because they didn't want me to take their class again. I've been arrested probably 3 or 4 times in school. I'm not going to keep telling the story. It's a true story. My wife, who's back there in the back, she was real nice. She was so nice. She was such a good student, she worked in the office. Here I am, always coming to the office in handcuffs. But we've been together since we were 14 years old. Wow. We've been married since we were 19 years old. Inshallah, in July, we will have 26 years married. She was the one that brought me to Islam. Needless to say, I came home and my mother worked nights, sleep in the day, but I couldn't wait to lay the report card on and let her know, look,
That's right.
I said, Mom, look at that. Honor roll. Oh, boy, what do you, wait. She woke up, she looked. Had 5 A's, a B, and a C. That's high honor roll. She said, so nigga, you think you smart now, huh? Come on! No matter what you do in the hood. My point is that y'all understand. So, an affirmation really is a way of you taking control of your mind with a truth about you bigger than what you could have figured out for yourself. I'm submitting that God raised the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And what he taught, there are bullet points and aspects of his teaching that can be converted into affirmations that will absolutely override. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. They'll override all of the self-defeating commands and all of the destructive monologue that exists inside of us. And activate inside of your psyche the override mechanism that puts at bay anything you ever heard about what you cannot do or that you're not good enough to make it happen. And I'm saying, oh, praise you, people, that I want to share some aspects of the beauty of the black woman to us and see if you'll use these as affirmations to fix your and my faith. Y'all with that? Yes. A nation can rise no higher than its woman. Put that in.
Yes, sir.
Download that. Respect and protect the black woman. Download that.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Civilization is not judged by the man, but civilization is judged by the woman. Listen to this one. From the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. But when you teach a woman, you teach a nation.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, these are laws, axioms, principles, affirmations.
Jesus.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, sister, said, there's no such thing as a no good woman.
Jesus.
Any no good woman was made that way by a no good man. And that no good man didn't start with a bad father or uncle or boyfriend that didn't treat you right or ex-husband that was abusive. The original bad man that messed up the good woman is the white man that miseducated us and lied to us about the real value that we have. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men.
Jesus.
Y'all didn't hear that?
Come on. Download it.
Let me tell you something. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this. He said, sisters, you did not marry the man of your dreams. Wow. The man of your dreams is inside the man you married.
Wow. Come on now.
Get to mining him out. Brothers, guess what? You did not marry the woman of your dreams.
Come on.
And get out of your mind that you're getting ready to try to create 38 flavors Baskin Robbins. I get this strawberry from that woman, and vanilla bean from there. And no, your job is not to go and find multiple women that you can mix together to make the one woman you think you should have. Your job as a man is to be a divine miner and bring out of the woman you already have all of the flavors that you're looking for. I don't want to clap for that. It sounds like a hard job. You're like, oh, yeah, it might be true, but I ain't clapping. I want you as a homework assignment to go home and study the equipment that a miner has to use to do his job. And look at all of their equipment and see if you can convert their tools into spiritual things that you can use when it comes to getting the best out of each other as husbands and wives. We're not going to go into all of them, but what I will tell you that one of the first things that you must have if you want to be a miner is you got to have a helmet with a light on it.
Teach now. Light. Yes, sir.
I don't know about y'all, but that means that both of us, we got to have some knowledge in our head. And we're going to be able to get the best out of one another. You can't be no real reckless and aggressive and abusive miner. What? Y'all all right? You go down there being real loud if you want to. Go down that mine shaft, bumping into stuff and acting all crazy if you want to. The whole thing collapse on you and kill you and yes, sir. So you got, huh? Do you know they send the canary into the mine first? And the canary's job is to make certain sounds based upon the fact that there's a way in and that there's a way out and that there's some valuables present. See, before you ever marry that man, you have to interview the people he used to be with. Agree, y'all agree. Computer love. Can I tell you something, brothers and sisters? When you looking at social media, that's not the real deal. No, that's a way that you can lean in, and with a certain kind of Snapchat filter, and lean in and Snapchat, you can be 812 pounds and look like you 122. And skin is perfect. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna leave it alone. First brother Daryl, he's gonna help me out. When you are on social media, you're not meeting the real them, you're meeting a local representative. Teach me. Anybody can fake tough. I move around 40, 50, 60 cities a year, and I show up, and the first thing I'm saying, where brother so-and-so at? Where's so-and-so? And I see him on social media with the flag raised high. They never there at all. No. So you're a social media soldier. Right. But you're not a soldier in real life. Come on. So, okay. Brothers, before you marry a sister, you want to know and interview the husband she used to have. Right. Now, y'all, I don't understand why y'all don't agree. Do y'all agree? Yes, feedback, I need to know. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because, I mean, if you do disagree with it, then let me ask you this. Why, whenever you go buy a vehicle, why do you get the Carfax? Come on, man. You mean tell me you're going to get you a vehicle that's going to get you from the east side to the west side for a maximum of 4 to 10 years? And you're going to get the whole Carfax so you can get the report on everything that car been through and who owned it, who it's been with, whether it had flood, whether it's been damaged, whether you're going to do all that for a vehicle to get you from the east side to the west side, but you're not going to do that for a woman you're going to be with for the rest of your life? Right. You better get that Carfax. Another lecture for me. So where there are no decent women, there are no decent men. You as a woman have to uphold a standard that makes that man live up to that standard. And whatever you demand, we will fall in line. Yes, we will. What? Y'all know? Yes, we will. Come on. God said it is not good for man to be alone. That's what he said. Right. And we didn't need God to tell us that. Right. We knew it by nature. Come on. So the female and the male, the Holy Quran says that Allah God has placed between the male and the female love and compassion. However, the affection or the desire between the male and the female and the male is stronger from the male to the female than it is from the female to the male. Men are more attracted to women than women are attracted to men. That's true. Come on now. That's right. In the Holy Quran, when it talks about a man's body, it just calls his body parts the exponents. But when it talks about the female, her body parts are called the adornments. Come on. The base word of adornment is adore, means somebody loves them. Come on. We don't have time to go into it, but if God created himself from triple darkness, and there was a time in the universe that there were only 3 things that existed, so teacher the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, material darkness, electricity, and the thought of God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the thought of God knew how to tell electricity where in the material darkness to strike the material darkness at the right place at the right time and use the electrical charge to resurrect a single atom of life. Come on, man. That was there but did not yet have aim and purpose. And if you go to the scientists, when they look at an atom, they'll tell you that inside of the atom is a proton, neutron, and an electron. And the electron is what gives the power to the atom. Come on, man. And each atom has the ability to have a core electrons and then orbiting electrons, and the orbiting electrons can be loaned from one atom to another atom. And then one electron borrowed from the living atom to the dead atom can resurrect the dead atom. And the next thing you know, an atom can unite with other dead atoms, give some of its charge to it, and then atoms become molecules. Then molecules end up becoming cells, and then cells end up becoming organs, and then organs become organ systems, and then organ systems brings birth to an organism called a human being. That's what God did. But after the God brought himself into existence, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he created his home planet simultaneous to his own self-creation.
Listen.
That means that while he was forming himself, he was also making the earth at the same time. Do you know if you're making two things at the same time from one source, then whatever you make has to be akin to one another? Have you ever been to a cemetery and whenever the dead are being buried, they say ashes too? And dust too? But the ashes and the dust that's going in is going to the ashes and dust of the earth.
That's right.
When a body is under the ground, it decomposes and it becomes dirt all over again.
That's right.
Why? Because the earth and the man are from the same product.
That's right.
The greatest ground of electricity is the earth. But inside of you, there's also electricity. You remember when you were growing up and you were walking around in your socks? You can go shock somebody. Turn the lights off, you can shock them and see the spark. Is that right? Okay, I still don't have everybody.
That's right.
I'm looking at some OGs in the audience. I'm looking at some faces that know about TV before they even had that brown one. That brown one with the 41 channel. Y'all remember that? With the wire came all the way from the TV? But you remember, how many of y'all remember them things we call them rabbit ears? Yeah. But you remember that when your TV was fuzzy, you could walk up on it and move the antennas, and you back up off of it, hold the antennas, and it look good. You go sit back down, you get your drink and everything, you look up and it's back fuzzy again. You get up and you go fix it again, you got it good and clear, you back away, go back, it's fuzzy again.
Yes, sir.
On that third time, you get it right, but this time, back off real slow. Then you wake it. By the time you get back to your seat, fuzzy again. Why did the picture come clear when you touch the antenna? It's because you were giving power from your own electrical energy to the antenna that made the TV more powerful than it was powerful. Don't you know that the bone of man is the same molecular structure as the rock of the earth? The vegetation of man matches, or the flesh of man matches the vegetation of the earth. If you took a leaf off the tree and put it next to your hand, the same way you got lines moving through your hand, the leaf does too.